The dream has to find the mysterious alchemy by which to convert itself into silver. The trophies of Forfar poignantly highlight the difference in stature between the big clubs and the small ones. Sitting in a homely group around the television set, they demonstrate how the small clubs function like cottage industries within a factory economy. The dream of clubs like Forfar Athletic, peaceful in its rural setting, remains the first key to the importance football has had in Scotland. But before it can open the door to significant success, it must be combined with the second key, the regular click of the turnstiles.
Well, at that time there were only maybe about 150, which was absolutely no use, and we thought if we could get to 1,000, roughly a tenth of the population, that it would be worthwhile. We're not in it for money. We're in to have a game for the community, if you like, for a place this size. The folk were waiting there, and we got up to 1 or 2 gates of 4,000 and 5,000 with some special games. So we had a lucky run to begin with, and that started the interest.
But if for Forfar crowds of 1,000 represent viability, they would be equivalent to the Wall Street crash for Rangers. The game, which began as an amateur pastime in Scotland, became very big business. The current overheads mean that even the biggest clubs need more money than comes through the gate.
Rangers do live from the gate money. The pools are paying off the stand and nothing else. They do the ground improvements. Rangers gate receipts, the commercial activities, is still one of the best in Britain. Advertising, shirt advertising, sponsorship, the C.R. Smith sponsorship. These are all things that do bring in the money. I don't think you could live just on solely gates. That would be very difficult. But altogether, we can do it.
If Rangers don't find it easy to live solely by gates, what chance of Forfar? They too have made a brave, if more modest attempt to come to terms with the realities of modern football.
We started a lottery. We have a 50-50 that a Canadian chairman suggested to us, just with the supporters club working very, very hard, and 2 or 3 of the board looking after the lottery and various things like that, various auctions we have. We've got to work to do it, but it's worthwhile.
But no matter how hard a club like Forfar may work, the dream keeps being interrupted by the brute facts of a marketplace where even club football pools can bring in a fortune.
Last year we had a record one of nearly £7 million, which is quite astonishing in a way because it's very much larger than the turnover of the club, which I think you're talking about £1.5 million, that kind of thing from the club. We're probably 4 or 5 times larger than Rangers, but that's a purely commercial thing, and obviously socially we're much less important than Rangers.
Scottish football has always believed in the triumph of underdogs. The game became for us to some extent an expression of nationality in defiance of the political facts. Perhaps that's one reason why we have been reluctant to give up the dream that all you need is skill.
Well, we all dream. We all dream. We do our best. I mean, nobody's kidding ourselves. And even last year we led the league for a considerable period, and the media were on to us, so promotion this and promotion that. And really within ourselves, I think we knew it was a wee bit beyond us. How we go this year, I don't know, but you've got to aim for that. If we don't aim for it, we'll never get it. That's one thing's for sure.
The aim is admirable, but the development of football has meant that more and more people have questioned the structure of the game. Some teams are said to be competing in an arena for which they are financially ill-equipped. Some bigger clubs have felt that their potential is being limited.
The smaller clubs, they know with the sponsorship money and they can live, but they'll never achieve the heights, you know, of Premier League status. And this is where you can get a conflict of opinion.
Isn't it right there should be targets for everybody in this game? Isn't it right that we should have something to aim for? And that's what every club aims for, is to play in the highest possible level. Never believe the stories you get that people don't want promotion.
What happens in Scottish football is presided over finally by the Scottish Football Association. For some time now, they have been the ultimate arbiters in a debate over the future of Scottish football. Is it time for the haphazard ambitions of the smaller clubs to make way for the more business-like demands of the modern game?
Well, I've always felt that Scotland, with all our callousness and rebelliousness and wanting to feel a separate identity and tremendous energy we have, they're still running through the great hard core of conservatism with a small c. People are very conservative, even in Glasgow, still wear the bowler hats, still want to be safe. And by and large, you know, we're not very receptive to good ideas, or maybe what they think are revolutionary ideas. Change is something to be resisted.
Some clubs want to get there. They are ambitious, and good luck to them. You can't hold that against them. I would be the same if I was chairman of one of these clubs. But a lot of them realise that they're never going to achieve that. In the first place, their parks are not big enough to hold the capacity crowds that would be needed. So I can't really see them surviving in that world.
Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to play in the highest possible level, and why not? The league is very, very tight. It's not the place for part-time clubs, really. But the answer is, if we're allowed to play, we'll survive. If we're not allowed to play, we won't survive.
I think eventually there will be a few principal clubs playing at the highest level with a certain level of professional performer. And I think in some days in the future there'll be a franchise system as we have in Europe or in America.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're a place for Dundee in Scottish football, and Dundee is it? How come? They're a place for them, and yet they're no place for Dunfermline, who have got the potential. They've got great potential. They've got good stand, good ground, and everything else, but they haven't got the players. Well, they haven't got a top-class team. Like Aberdeen was nothing at one time, but they've come right up. They've sold well. Clydebank is doing it now. They're selling well. They're buying well. And their scouting system's good. If they're a place for Clydebank, they're a place for Albion, no, surely.
I honestly don't think that way. I think that it's either financially viable or not. I think that it's ludicrous that there's so many small clubs in all the areas, such as Fife and even in the Sarah Tayside, even in Dundee. What we were able to afford and how many people wanted to come to the game in years gone past doesn't matter. As far as I'm concerned, it's only the people that want to come along now that matters, and I still think it ludicrous that there are so many small clubs. I honestly believe that football would be better if there were more successful clubs, and in that I honestly believe that clubs would be more successful if they joined ranks and pooled resources than at the moment where it's spread far too thin over the ground.
Well, I found in my short experience as a manager at any meetings we go to, every manager bats for his own club. Nobody's for the good of Scottish football. If it's Aberdeen or Dundee United or Rangers or Celtic or Partick Thistle or St Johnstone or Forfar, we're all in for us. I don't believe this for the good of Scottish football. We're serving the public here. People here wouldn't go to other matches. We give them an identification of something to go to together, a sense of belonging. We're serving a purpose in this area, and as far as I'm concerned, there's a very valuable place in the community for people like us.
No, I think on a political level, I think the government have now decided that, yes, they want soccer, but in a certain level in terms of stadia, facility, and equally it's got to be self-funding. The only way that can be done is not by underwriting those clubs, which unfortunately don't have both the customers and the economic base to sustain themselves. I mean, in the essence, the marketplace and competition is not sustained in Scottish football. If it was any other industry, in fact, it would rationalise itself purely by demand and supply. We tinker with it just now. We've got sponsorship money which is now used to underwrite less fortunate clubs. But I think eventually reality will settle. And I'm determined that Hearts Football Club will be one of the clubs that will participate in the new generation, whatever it may be.
I don't think money can buy football players. I don't think so. Because Crystal Palace and Proofree millionaires in their time, aren't they? Right? And they know how to team yet.
The other main governing body of Scottish football, the Scottish Football League, is an association formed by the clubs themselves. It has reached a new agreement. In effect, this will make it less easy for smaller clubs to play in the Premier League, and it will give the bigger clubs significantly more voting power. Is the dream of the small clubs losing out to the turnstile?
Scottish Football League and the 38 member clubs that we have had, we're celebrating our centenary in 5 years' time, and I'm quite confident that the member clubs who are present today will be with us in 1990, which is our centenary.
But by then the balance of power will have shifted significantly. One man who saw early the need for the game to rationalise itself like an unprofitable business was Wallace Mercer. His vision of how football should be run to survive healthily has been supported by exciting performances on the field. The current success of Hearts contrasts vividly with the condition of the club he bought, which was close to financial ruin.